Welcome to the Lifestyle Training and Education Center. Today we have another quick 5-minute math exercise to keep your medication math skills sharp. Today's exercise will be to give Tranexamic Acid, or TXA. We have a couple of options in how to give this medication, so get ready to make some decisions. You should always follow your own agency's protocols. At Lifestar, our protocols call for 1,000 milligrams of TXA over 10 minutes, followed by another 1,000 milligrams over the next 8 hours. We can call the first one the bolus dose, and the second one is the maintenance dose. Let's take a look at the TXA we carry in our ambulances. You can see that each vial contains 1,000 milligrams. That's very convenient for our dosing, isn't it? Since we need to give 2 1,000 milligram doses, we are going to need 2 of these vials, right? Now we need to make some decisions. Do we want to have one infusion for the bolus and another infusion for the maintenance dose? Or would it be easier to mix everything in one bag and run one infusion? The answer to that question depends very much on you, the provider. Some people prefer to break tasks down into little pieces. Others prefer to keep things as simple as possible to minimize the chance of mistakes. You should always pick the method that works best in your own mind, so when you are making decisions under stressful conditions, you are less likely to make a medication error. The equipment that you carry might also be a factor in this decision. At Lifestyle, we carry Alaris MedSystem 3 pumps, which allow for up to 3 infusions at the same time, so we have the luxury of being able to go in either direction. Since you are a steely-eyed mathematical paramedic with strong skills, I think we should mix everything into one infusion to keep things simple. Since we have decided to administer both the bolus dose of 1,000 milligrams over 10 minutes and the maintenance dose of 1,000 milligrams over 8 hours, we are going to inject both TXA vials into one bag of fluid. Let's do that first and calculate the concentration, since we know that will be information we need when we make our final calculations. Here we have a 250 milliliter bag of normal saline. We are going to inject 2 vials of TXA, each of which contains 1,000 milligrams. That results in a total of 2,000 milligrams of TXA in 250 milliliters of fluid. If you pay a great deal of attention to detail, you'll note that each vial contains 10 milliliters of fluid. So the accurate number is 2,000 milligrams in 270 milliliters of fluid. However, experienced providers will also note that this is a negligible amount, and the math is much cleaner and simpler if we consider the volume to be 250 milliliters. I'll show you why in a few moments. How do we calculate the concentration? Sometimes it's difficult to remember which number is divided into the other. An easy way to remember is this: the final concentration is expressed in terms of milligrams per milliliter. We write that down this way, with the milligrams over milliliters. This is the sign for mathematical division. So it's an easy way to remind yourself that we divide milligrams by milliliters to find the answer. 2,000 divided into 250 equals 8 milligrams per milliliter. If we had divided by 270 milliliters, the answer would be 7.4 milligrams per milliliter. You could consider that 7.4 milligrams per milliliter, or just stick with the nice, elegant round numbers. That decision is yours to make. I prefer nice round numbers if possible. We pull out our handy pocket reference card with formulas on it, and we can see that the easiest way to administer both the bolus and maintenance doses is to use the fluid over time formula. Fluid over time means to give a specific amount of fluid in a specific amount of time. The formula you see here requires that we know how much fluid we want to give, how much time we want to give it in, and then the drip factor of the tubing we are using. Fortunately for us, since we either use 60 drop tubing or an infusion pump, the formula remains basically the same because 60 drops per minute also equals 60 milliliters per hour. So we remember that any time we use these formulas, as long as we calculate with a drip factor of 60, we will end up with an answer that provides both drips per minute and milliliters per hour. Very convenient, isn't it? Now we have all the information we need to do our calculations using the fluid over time formula. The first specific amount of fluid, or the bolus dose, requires 1,000 milligrams. We calculated a concentration of 8 milligrams per milliliter, so 1,000 milligrams divided by 8 milligrams per milliliter equals 125 milliliters of fluid. You can press pause now if you wish to do the calculation on your own, and then come back to check your numbers. When we plug in the numbers into the formula, we find that 125 milliliters times a 60 drip factor divided by 10 minutes equals 750 milliliters per hour. If you program your pump for 750 milliliters per hour and the volume remaining to infuse of 125 milliliters, it will take 10 minutes to complete that infusion. Sweet! We're almost done! What about the second infusion that is to take place over 8 hours? Since we made some good decisions in setting this up as 2 infusions from the same bag of fluid, this is going to be even easier. Here's what we know. We started with 2,000 milligrams of TXA in the bag. We already gave 1,000 milligrams in the last infusion, which means there is exactly 1,000 milligrams left in the bag. We know that the first infusion was 125 milliliters, so the remaining fluid is the 250 milliliters we started with minus the 125 that we gave. There must only be 125 more milliliters to administer. This time, however, we are going to do it over 8 hours. Can you plug the numbers into the formula and determine at what rate to program your pump? Press pause now if you want to try it on your own. The total volume remains 125 milliliters and the drip factor remains 60. The only thing that has changed is the time, which needs to be expressed in minutes. 8 hours times 60 minutes equals 480 minutes. If you plug that into the formula, the result is 15.625 milliliters per hour. That is what you would program the pump to deliver, and it will take 8 hours to complete that infusion. If you really want to impress your partner here at Lifestar, you probably know that you can program the Alaris Med System 3 pump to perform all of this at the same time. You can start with a 125 milliliter bolus at 750 milliliters per hour, and then switch to 15.6 milliliters per hour for the remaining 125 milliliters. Check out our video on the Med System 3 pumps if you want to learn how to do that. Thank you for joining us for this quick medication math video. We'll see you on the next one.